Hello and welcome to Time is an Ingredient, sponsored by Gulf Photonics, makers of the AccuBrew fermentation monitoring system. Time is an Ingredient is a podcast for brewery professionals and breweries in planning, but we also hope consumers get something out of this as well to understand the industry that we are a part of. Today's episode is Time to Distribute with Mike Ryan and Jacob Wiley, the co-owners of Altered Craft Distribution in Largo, Florida, and Kat Jones, their Southern Territory Manager. And so, hello, guys. Tell us about yourselves, how you got where you are.
Hello. My name is Mike Ryan. I'm one of the co-founders of the company. My partner, Jacob.
Hey, Jacob here.
Yeah. So, and this Kat as well. So we got started as homebrewers back in the day. We've known each other for quite a while. And, our company kind of got started with pipe dreams that every homebrewer has, where they're going to open up a brewery. And so that's exactly what we did. We bought equipment, all that stuff, ready to go. About to sign a whole bunch of leases before the pandemic hit. And so we put a big pause on that one and completely changed gears and decided to do distribution instead. So that's kind of how we've ended up. And it's gone from an idea at Overflow into now having 22 brands in the Bay Area. So it's been quite a ride the past 2.5 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah, our brewery plans too kind of helped us out with getting this started. It's like we'd already bought a cooler, so that's our distro cooler now. We're moving into a new one in the process of it, but we had the equipment we had, we were able to sell to help fund us to get to the next level. So it all kind of fell into place.
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
So you got very lucky.
Yeah.
Because some people signed everything right after the pandemic. And
Yeah.
it didn't go so well.
It's funny because we've actually looked at the building that we're in for a potential a brewery, and so it's kind of really cool to see that we didn't end up getting on the hook for millions of dollars. So it's kind of nice.
Exactly. Because it did happen.
Yeah. Being shut down. Definitely would have sucked before we even got open. So we're really happy that we landed where we are, and really proud of what we've done for the Tampa Bay community. Probably more impactful than we would have just by opening a brewery.
Definitely.
So I think 100 times folds bigger impact than we would have just serving beer.
Yeah. And what's the biggest difference between a craft distributor and, the macros, who, are awesome for what they do, but what are you guys providing that
we
differentiates
can't speak for other
you?
craft distributors,
Of course.
But for us, I would say the big difference is advocacy. We actually do the sales for our breweries that we represent, and we're out in the market. We're teaching them how to do it. We're learning with them. It's like a partnership more than it is an actual just logistics company that delivers beer.
Yeah. Most of our brands are fairly small breweries. They go from 35 gallons at a time to 15 barrels at a time. So we have a wide range, but they're all independently small breweries. And so it's quite a range that we have, and most of them have never been in distribution before at all. And so we've had to foster and educate those breweries and the bars and restaurants that we also sell to along with the breweries.
So selling to the bars has got to be interesting because I know because I've been on that side, and I know that there are ones that don't want to talk to certain people no matter what you try to do.
It's this fun game of like, you don't want to be too big because then the breweries you're representing feel like you're not representing all of them.
Right.
But then also bars won't give you the time of day because you don't have enough to bring to the table for them to want to deal with you. Yeah. And Kat will tell you all about it.
And it's so interesting too because every brewery that we work with is has different goals in mind as well. That do you keep that brewery's beer in their area, or do you bring it outside of their area? For example, we've got some breweries up in Dunedin and Tarpon Springs that we work with. A lot of the beer stays there, but I want some of that too down here at the top craft accounts. But yeah, it's a fun little game, to walk into the door and say, "Hi, I'm Kat from Altered Craft," and they're like, "Who the heck is that?" And
Sure.
why do I want to have you? Well, we support local beer, and we're doing this amazing thing. I'd love for you to be a part of it. And some of them say, "Yeah, that's great. I'm on board. I want to support local as much as possible." And some of them say, no, I'm good. I've got my macro on my local
Right.
tap right now.
Right.
And you just move along. So you find the people that want to work with you, that really do care about craft beer and care about keeping it local.
Yeah.
So those are our favorite places.
Well, I've
to
always, I've always had nothing but good words for what you guys do, because I think so many people don't understand what they're getting into when they start down this thing. So what do you do to help people understand, what the hell am I getting into? What am I really doing here? And maybe, why am I signing this contract? Or I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one. So the laws in the state of Florida are pretty interesting, to say the least. Contracts for beer specifically is lifetime. That is how the law is written. They're still in the 3-tiered system, so you have to have a producer, a distributor, and then a retail. You have to be separated in that manner. In addition to that, there's franchise laws. So if you distribute beer for a brewery, you technically own the rights to sell their beer forever. Not 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, forever. And it's probably one of the only industries that I know of that has those sort of rules and regulations, and hopefully those do change. We're a big supporter of changes to the beer industry in this state. And where we differ is we start with 1-year contracts with our brewery partners. That is what we decided from day one that we wanted to stick to and uphold, and we have. We've had breweries that are been in our portfolio that, things just didn't work out, and that's how they are. All of our contracts are 1 year. So we reevaluate those, and, things don't work out. I'm not going to hold anybody back from, growing their business on their terms and who they want to.
Sure.
Go for it. So that's how we've established, and, by law, we don't have to do that, but we've chosen to stick to that.
Right.
And it's funny, we've seen kind of an industry shift where some of the other distributors started adding 1-year contracts and like temporary contracts, because they saw that we were just created a little bit of a pull in the area.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, so this wasn't a bad idea.
No.
And they love that. A lot of the breweries, they're
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm not going to sign my life away, my business away to anybody. And now they can get out of those contracts for other companies, but it's a bunch of rules and buyouts, but that's them.
Gigantic buyouts.
Yeah,
in some
and we
cases.
understand the reason
Sure.
for having those. And especially with what we have to do is we're building brands, and so there's a lot of work that goes involved in that. I mean, we have tap takeovers, we have all these different events, and there's a lot that goes into it for our
There's
company.
definitely a lot of investment on our end to build
Yes.
the brands in the area.
Yeah, so and we understand. So if you pull out and you're a large bill of that portfolio, that could be very detrimental to a company. So I understand it, but at the same time, I'm not going to hold you hostage.
Right.
That's just not going to happen.
Right.
But I think it's a testament to how you guys run your business too.
Mm-hmm.
Try to.
Just giving my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to be working with you both.
Well, I do know that there are instances where people didn't realize that's what they were signing.
Yeah.
They weren't all well informed going in for some reason or other.
And maybe the distribution thing as a whole, they don't realize what they're getting themselves into. It's an entire different business. Like, you need to run your brewery and your tap room as a business, and distribution is a whole different animal. And there's a large investment that needs to happen. You need people, like, feet on the ground, and just separate them, because it's not something you can just do on the side.
No. I mean, you have to invest to distribution. You have to invest significantly. Like, tap handles to get created, for example, are $30 to $60 a piece.
Yeah.
So, and when you go out in the market, at minimum, we need about 100.
And
So that's a significant investment.
$3,000 investment right
Yeah.
out the gate just for
Yeah.
tap handles, which you're going to give away.
Yeah.
You won't,
yeah.
won't see them
No,
again
no.
sometimes.
And I mean, the amount of cooperage that you have
Yeah.
to have
Yes.
Yeah.
is probably like the biggest reason that people would stay away from going into
Yeah.
distribution, because
Yeah.
it's going to be 6 weeks before the kegs actually get back to us,
Yeah.
assuming that the beer is moving the way that it should. So,
Yeah. And on top of that, you're talking $100 to $130 for a slim keg.
Yeah.
So when you need 200 kegs for distribution, that's also a significant investment.
Mhm.
So
With a $30 deposit that doesn't doesn't really cover
Yeah,
it.
that
you
is
don't see it.
absolutely true.
Yeah.
And even on the retail side,
Oh, you'd be so surprised how many
You-
people
Right.
get
they
so upset about
refuse.
deposits.
A lot of places refuse to pay for tap handle deposits and keg deposits, not realizing we're literally giving you $150,
Yeah.
$200 as a cost from a brewery for one keg.
Yeah.
That's challenging, and so not everybody, not all breweries are really going to be ready for that next step. A lot of people think it's just a few kegs here and there, but there's a lot to it. Going out and selling your own beer helps out tremendously. We have 3 sales reps, and so we represent a very large territory. We go all the way from Brooksville, Spring Hill, all the way down to Sarasota, Bradenton,
Yeah.
and then over to Valrico, sometimes Plant City.
That is
so
giant.
Yeah.
we have a massive territory that we can represent and have 3 sales reps.
Right.
And we get a lot of breweries don't have the payroll to go out on their own or time to go out on their own. They want to sell or they have other jobs. Those sort of things we understand.
And distribution at that scale is not necessarily going to cover those costs.
No.
Well,
No.
yeah. So
when you're trying to pay a $50,000-$60,000 a year for a rep
Yeah.
yeah,
and everything else.
more or less, like what we've done is we've provided a small scale offering for breweries. So like she said, I mean, we have breweries that only do 15 sixtils a month, and we pick them up once a month, and then they stay in their local area. Is we're more or less providing that self distribution for them with a little bit of markup and the sales. So we keep the account maintenance.
Right.
If that's what you want to do on a small scale, it's perfectly fine. But then it's the animal of distribution comes in when you're trying to scale.
Mhm.
We live in an incredibly competitive market.
Yeah.
If you want to sell 200 sixtils a month or whatever, there's your investment. You need
Yeah.
to sell. You
Yeah.
got to be
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Feet
can
on
do
the
everything we
ground.
can,
Absolutely.
but we can't. You're competing against 1,000 other beer brands,
Yeah.
local and
There's 100 in this area
Yeah,
alone.
yeah,
This
alone.
area.
Yeah.
And then you have everything
your
coming in
market.
and out of the state.
There's at least 100 in your market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, how you need to go there and basically convince a bar owner who doesn't want to talk to you in the first place
Yeah.
that your beer is better than what they have on tap.
Well, that brings up the self-distribution
Yeah.
because you mentioned that. And one of the things I had never thought about that you guys mentioned when we met before was what happens if everybody did? And now there's
Yeah.
50 reps coming in,
Yeah.
every
Mhm.
day or two, you're just bombarded with reps. And you didn't even want to talk to the 4 that were already coming in,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
So-
going to be absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't mean that for the little places that, have a really good connection already within their neighborhood. Like I could easily see Troubled Waters in Safety Harbor,
Sure.
who already knows all the managers and the owners. That'll be cake. But if you had the funds to hire a rep, or if you went out yourself, going into these different accounts that have to already talk to, 7 different distributors locally anyways, plus that's only for beer and wine, right? Plus you got your liquor reps if you're a bigger bar, but it's just going to be madness. And the owners of those bars or the GMs or whomever you're supposed to be talking to, your buyer, they're not going to accept talking to new people. And I feel like I'm worried that would actually hurt craft beer overall.
Yeah. I mean, we're
We'll see.
advocates
Yeah.
for self-distribution because, again, some of the smaller breweries that are in their local neighborhood, like she said, like they can't just run a keg next door.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that means we have to go pick it up. There's this whole deal, and we're not trying to hurt anybody's business.
Well, like you said, with John Cuny,
Yeah.
he's
Right.
next door,
yeah.
and then you have to pick it up, hold it,
And then
take
bring
it all
back.
the way back.
Yep.
And it's like a 15-mile round trip
Yep.
to
For-
deliver one sixtel.
Good old 24 hours.
Next
and
door.
send it right back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So that's where, I mean, we see the value in it. Yeah. But the whole
And that's-
50 reps running around
Yeah.
talking, I mean, we'll put it this way. We have 3 very good reps, and they get told to eat dirt 15, 20 times a day.
Yeah.
And so, and they're professionals. They do it all day, every day.
Yeah.
And what is this same person going to do who's got a bad attitude that gets brought in 7 to 10 reps a day, just
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, buy this, buy this." I mean, it's not going to go well.
No,
Yeah.
no, it won't.
I get more no's than I get yeses most of the time.
That
Yeah,
is
sure.
business. Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
But eventually they say yes, or eventually I just stop going.
You just wear, or make you bring 8 samples.
Yeah. The sample thing is tough when you look at a business like ours, because our breweries, every can potentially is going to go into a case.
Right.
When you have a bigger production facility that's able to, that has a canning line that's able to, make them, that's a little bit easier. But we figured it out. We got these little U kegs, and we just fill them up with samples, and they've got a little CO2 cartridge, and
You
it's
just
a
have
lot
to-
easier that way.
You'd be amazed how expensive canning lines are. it's quite insane.
I
so.
once worked in the food packaging business, so
Yeah.
I have a rough idea.
Speaking of
Yeah.
samples, we actually have we brought a few today.
Yeah.
So the first one we're drinking right now is actually not beer. It's a non-alcoholic product from a brand called Drink Sip. It's a watermelon wheat, and you would never really guess it's non-alcoholic. So, but we kind of really enjoy this. They also have a hazy IPA that is really good.
Is the hazy also NA?
It is
Yeah.
also an
So everything they're doing
Yeah,
is
everything
NA.
they do is NA.
Yeah, and it's produced out
This
of
is really
it's
refreshing.
produced out of Commerce Brewing in Largo.
Mm.
Travis and the team and
Right.
the team. So they actually have a stout coming out soon. So that's going to be
Really
really exciting. I've never seen an NA stout
No.
before. So we're really excited for this brand. We just launched about mid-December and are already on our 3rd order. That's how popular it is. Capitalized on the dry January. So
Yeah.
but we're still hitting it. It's doing well in stores. It's in Lucan's. All the Lucans in Pinellas County
It's very
and
good.
in Tampa. So got a whole bunch of other things. Infinite Ale Works, Into the Haze from Ocala. They're also No Snow Days, which is a coconut chocolate porter.
And they just switched over to the 16-ounce
Mhm.
format. They were 12-ounce up until
Yeah.
a month ago.
Yeah, and then our freshly batched Stratopocalypse from Southern Lights Brewing, your 2022 gold medal winner and best small brewery in
Yeah,
Florida.
baby.
So that was
Yeah, I
that
was
was
there.
such a cool.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
That
That
was an
was.
insane experience
It
for us
was.
as a company.
That was so hard though, because so we did the judging, and
Oh man, yeah. So we just stopped by the judging. Didn't really know what was going on. It was
Yeah.
best of show, and we're just like, let's hang out and steward for them.
that was a fun experience too.
So we're sitting in this room just stewarding, being very quiet. Didn't even. I mean, this table is like twice the size, and all you see is these little cups all over the place. And they get to the final, 5, and we know what one of the beers are, and we're being dead silent because we have to be non-partial.
Right.
And then they get down to 3, and we're still in it. Southern Light's still in it, and it's a Battle Pug. It's a smoked porter. And one of the guys, one of the judges, asked me to try and asked my opinion. I was like, unfortunately, I cannot try this beer. I cannot comment on any of this stuff right now. So they finally pick it, and Kat and I just stare at each other and like, let's walk outside the
Yeah,
room.
just
We were never
go
here.
around the
Yeah,
corner
yeah.
real quick
And then,
just give each other a big hug.
We freaked out, and
And that was
it's
2 weeks prior to the festival, so we couldn't
Yeah.
tell anybody. And
Sitting on this.
didn't
Which-
tell
Oh
a
my
soul.
God.
and it
Which
was-
also, we were title sponsors of that festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So-
just random. We were the title sponsor of the festival for the Brewers Ball, and so then we decided let's just make it this giant party at Brewers Ball. I couldn't tell the guys at Southern Lights, who I've been very close with since the minute they opened up the doors at the previous location,
Right.
and so they're family to us.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been happier for Benton, Billy, and Kirby. And seeing Kirby cry as he got the award, it was great. And Benton just the look he gave me, it was just fantastic. So that's what gives us joy in this business.
Yeah.
And I always say this, craft beer is amazing, and it's usually not even about the beer. It's about the people you meet and the people you talk to and the things you do. That's what gives me passion and joy about the
100%.
industry. The beer's a really nice runner-up.
I used to always try to get our employees to understand you're not we don't sell beer. This is an
Yeah.
experience.
It is.
And you're renting your chair. I know it's an old thing in bars, but you're renting your chair. Just got to pay your dues every hour or so. and
Yep.
Maybe tip your server a little properly, but the beer's free. It's on us.
I mean, and we'll get to this, but now beer with inflation has got to $8-9 a pour.
That's
So
really good.
You really do want to savor it, not just back in college days and do keg stands on craft beer. We're way past that stage, so we really
Maybe we're just maturing.
yeah. Let's see. It would be surprised, consumers especially would be surprised how many hands touch one pint of beer, and what kind of passion and heart goes into that. And a lot of consumers may not understand that and may not see that. It's like, oh, it's just a beer. Like, who cares?
Right.
Like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
We're obviously very passionate. All the brewers that we represent are very, very passionate. And so we think it's a special thing. And that's why we're very happy to represent all of our brands.
I completely agree because I know it's not because they're making zillions of dollars.
No.
They're in this
Neither are
industry.
we, but
No,
we're
yeah.
doing it
It's
anyway.
it's a brutally hard job. People used to say, "Are you a brewer?" I'm like, "Oh no,
No.
no, I'm not." And it's like it's brutally hard work. In Florida, it can be 100 and something degrees in there, and and the people I know locally, they wouldn't do anything else.
No.
I can't think of a one of them that would give up, even though it's thankless, really, day to day.
Yeah, and very labor intensive.
Very
On all
labor
fronts.
intensive.
Labor
Yeah.
and capital intensive.
And in your dishwasher, you're scrubbing stainless. You're not,
mopping floors,
yeah.
you name it. I mean, I think what Jason's tossed is head janitor. That's his title
Yeah.
or something
Right.
like that. Yeah, tri-clamp aficionado, whatever he calls himself. So, there's a lot that goes into this, and so we're happy to represent our brands because we know how much they care about their products. Sure.
You mentioned earlier about distribution laws, and I don't know how much of this you guys want to get into, but what are some of the things that having a podcast soon with Sean from the Guild to talk about what's happening in Tallahassee. But from your position, what would be, everybody talks about self-distribution, but we all know it's more about reform of overall the landscape that these people are trying to operate in. So what would be the best thing to help you guys compete more effectively and small breweries to compete more effectively, other than just completely wiping the 3-tier, which we're not going to get anytime soon?
Yeah, I think Kat is going to talk more on this because she's very opinionated.
Yeah.
I think
Definitely.
as far as the part of the
Yes, I am
industry,
very
In a-
opinionated.
in a
That's
good
very
way.
true.
In a good way.
On the distribution
Um,
side, it's probably gonna be the pay to play and the
Yeah.
different things. So
Yeah, because it's a Goliath situation. Like, we're over here trying to just talk to people, and there's this bag of money and giant hand lingering over us at all times that are just
Right.
holding everyone hostage. And
With no
Yeah.
oversight,
yeah,
no enforcement.
and it's not a legislative thing because it is illegal for the most part, and there's just no enforcement,
Yeah.
which is a big issue.
Right.
First of all, like, my hat's off to Sean because he's definitely advocating for all of the breweries through the guild, and he does a great job. But you can't necessarily fight the lobbying that's happening
No.
on a lot of different fronts. As far as like pay to play happening in the market, it does, but I think that when we're doing all that we're doing and we're educating our accounts about the laws, I mean, that's really the only way that we're going to make an impact is to just let the accounts know, what we can do, what we can provide. No, we're not able to do certain things, but technically they aren't either. But I think we do a really good job of playing by the rules. And I'm proud of what we're doing regardless.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, I mean, we are a small company. There is 6 of us, and so we don't have the budget for a lot of things. I barely have a budget for a truck. So, it's very hard to maneuver within the rules of a macro distributor who has the resources. And, craft beer isn't that larger of their portfolio. if you take a look at the macro stuff, that drives everything. The
Oh,
craft
yeah.
is nice, and
Yeah,
so we don't have money to pay for an entire draft system for a bar. Keg line cleaning is something we really believe in, but it's also very cost prohibitive in certain circumstances. When a keg line, we use all tapped out Jason Hess, who is local in St. Pete, for a lot of our cleanings. Sometimes it could be, depending on how far he has to go, $65 to clean a line, which is a little cost prohibitive when one account has 1/2 barrel keg a month. So I'm like, all right, well, our margins are fairly small. Like, I
Right,
think
right.
that's what other thing that is understood about distribution, that we take a massive amount of margin in a keg of beer. It's very small considering. And so when we make $32.40,
Considering we're not just the ones sending the beer,
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
doing what we do
Yeah,
on a
I
day-to-day
mean, we have to pay
basis.
3
Exactly.
salespeople, a driver. There's insurance. We have to
Yeah.
pay the
have a
taxes on
truck
all the
now.
beer.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it adds
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're at 8 cents a mile now for the IRS.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like-
yeah, with a large territory.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
paying
sending
out,
a sales rep on the road in their own
Well, you
car.
send the sales rep to go sell the beer, and then you send the driver to deliver.
Yes.
It to,
yeah.
Exactly.
So, at the end of the day, we might make $5 a keg. So,
Right.
the margins are.
And then we
very-
got to pay for a warehouse, a cooler, electric bill. I mean,
Yeah.
people think there's this weird, conception or misconception that we just like sit in the corner and count
Yeah,
money
yeah.
bags. Yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's not like that at all.
Keeping all.
Yeah,
the money,
yeah.
keeping
We're
all
not,
the
we're not
money.
taking all the profits off
Yeah.
of the beer from the breweries side. It's really not.
Well, it's like we
kinda
talked
that.
about the that thread, online thread that we were all in during the pandemic,
Yeah.
where somebody says, "You're just giving distributors all your money," and it's like you're paying for a service, and I know that even in the states where you can self-distribute, what's the percentage of breweries that are actually doing that? And I mean at scale, where
Yeah.
it's paying for
Sure.
reps, it's paying for trucks. I mean, you look at it. It takes somebody like Lagunitas, and they're self-distributing in some of their areas. And I know there's other cases where small breweries have their family open a distributorship, and then they can move things around locally, maybe a little bit. That helps them out. But to actually distribute at scale, to reduce production cost, and to pay, I don't know why. I don't know where that concept came from in their minds that you're keeping everything and nothing. It was like this fairy magic
There's
that
definitely a little
So-
thundercloud
There-
like
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
our heads. Like we
Yeah.
can definitely feel
We-
the animosity at conference.
Yeah, so that's exactly where it's
Exactly.
going.
I know exactly. what you're thinking of.
so-
well,
after
because
you-
you have distribution in your name, you must be evil.
yeah.
You
That
know.
was the most eye-opening thing I think we took out of the conference. We went to FPG conference in
Yeah, you had
August
awesome.
in
That was a lot
Orlando.
of fun. Yeah.
That was insane. We were the only distributor. We were. I think there was another one.
yeah.
There was another one.
Yeah.
We were the only major distributor who had a booth. We did a lot of. We helped provide the beer that Southern Lights and Gulfport made. But a lot of it was geared towards the breweries, and then we go to a panel that was about distribution. And wow, that was interesting
Half
too.
of the topics were just hatred.
pitchforks.
Yeah.
It's like going to, I don't know, an event and like the butt of the joke is the same joke repeated over and over and over again, and the joke was distribution.
It was
and like
you.
you're
Yeah.
just the kids in the corner like getting laughed at.
Yeah.
And then we sat and looked at each other at some of the comments. We were just like, oh my god, is this what it's like for other people? Like,
No, yeah, it's really sad.
we
Yeah.
don't operate in this manner.
Yeah.
It was quite eye opening to see a perspective from other breweries and what they have to do with and deal with their distributors. And not all of them are terrible. A lot of people have great experiences with Grape Bay and JJ and Pepin
Right.
and other distributors.
Sure.
That's fine for them.
Yeah.
More power to you. Our breweries share a different perspective on their path and their growth plans for what they want to do. But yeah, that was we all just came out of that like, oh man,
Yeah.
We are the devil.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and,
You wrote these laws.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's us.
yeah,
Right.
Sure.
It's all you.
And it was a lot of hate, but we met a lot of great people, had a lot of good discussions with brewers from all over the state, and so we can't wait to go back again.
Having not gone to that, I don't know, seminar, whatever, all I saw around your booth was smiling faces.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought you guys had a great presence, and you were in the hallway, and
Mhm.
it was just, I don't find that surprising, but it was like I didn't see that, in the hallway.
Yeah.
It
We
was-
tried to keep it fun. Kat and Jacob had this idea, and when they first pitched it to me, I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" It was an art installation where we 3D printed hands, and we put all of the cans on the hands of all the different breweries. in
that
our
was on the
portfolio.
wall behind
That was
you.
on
I,
the wall
yeah,
behind
I
us.
saw. Yeah, that
And then
was
we
cool.
did a photo booth, so you can come by, stop by, and take a picture in front of it. We wanted to keep it very casual and
Yeah.
not very stuffy. And here, read my marketing material. And we talked to several people about distribution in Orlando and Sarasota and Jacksonville, and they want us
Yeah,
badly
yeah.
because they have their own experiences or they don't have any experience in distribution on our scale. And eventually we'll get there, but we want to grow this company sustainably before we go just crazy and
Yeah.
spread out the
Master
whole
Tampa
state.
Bay.
Because
before we do
Jacksonville
anything
is
else.
nuts. It's
Yeah.
it's a
It is.
huge
We
market
just-
and lots of breweries and good breweries.
Yeah,
We just
One
don't want to
day.
overextend ourselves.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
We're trying to do it correctly, and
yeah. We want to make sure Tampa Bay is taken care of first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still in the growth mode of just Tampa itself.
Right.
And we're learning lots of things about Tampa that we didn't realize because we're mostly all from.
What
the Pinellas
what
side
are
of
some of the
things.
differences from our county and my county?
Um,
So-
St. Pete.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
St. Pete. So, crazy story is Tampa people do not travel to Pinellas and vice versa, and so we're listing off all the breweries that we represent in this area, and they're like, "Oh, we've never heard of Pinellas Ale Works, or we've never heard of Descent Brewing," or I was like, "These are kind of somewhat larger players in
Sure.
the
That have been around for years.
yeah,
Yeah.
have been in the game for
Yeah.
quite a while," and they're like, "Oh, we've just never heard of them." I'm like, "Well, do you go across the bridge?" No, I don't go over. People don't want to cross the bridge, and so it's really educating them on who Pinellas breweries are and who we represent, and
then convincing them to actually want to try
Yeah.
it.
But that's
Right.
also why it's so important to be in distro in Tampa, because if we don't have those handles out there,
Mhm.
then no one's ever gonna know who
Yeah.
these wonderful breweries
Right.
are. And,
Yep.
so it's kind of our responsibility.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
making
Do that.
really good headways in the Tampa area specifically. So, we do have breweries in Tampa. Valrico is Bullfrog Creek is a great brewery. It's very far out there from us, but
it is. I missed the member social. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I can make
yeah,
that.
but it just
It's so good.
Nicholas is one of the
Yes.
better brewers in the Bay Area that I've ever had a pleasure of even talking to. Is very smart about the brewing process and makes phenomenal beer.
It's a little gem out there.
Yeah, it's a hike, but it's worth going out there.
Maybe
So.
one day.
Yeah.
That's what
Maybe
we're doing
one
right
day.
now. We're just collecting all the little gems.
Yeah.
flowers, and
See what plants
Fostering
grow.
them into
Yeah.
diamonds.
Back to self distribution, because this is such a big thing. It seems to be the only thing they talk about. And I told you guys this before, and you laughed at me because you're like, "That's a
didn't laugh at you.
ridiculously
We laughed
small
at you.
amount." And I was told one time, before you self distribute, think about it. You should be making like 35,000 barrels a year to pay for this problem. And you guys are like, "No, not anymore." So that's kind of an indicator of where your costs have gone north. And so
I just don't
How-
think the market could hold 35,000 barrels of a new
Right.
brand. I mean,
of 100,
obviously, I'm not saying
breweries in the area.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's a huge investment. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking that's a statewide distribution, and you need to have someone driving.
Exactly.
Freaking corner
And
to
reps in
corner,
every
yeah.
corner. Did you? So then, I don't know, maybe I'm beating this to death, but what then, around the table maybe, is the biggest thing you face when you try to close that contract? When you try to sign, what is the biggest stumbling block that
With
keeps
breweries?
people?
With breweries,
Yes.
Check the breweries, yeah.
Yeah. When
Um,
when you go in and you're offering this really actually like a real distribution contract. That's almost as like any other retail business, which this business is. The other contracts are not like at all, because I've listened to other podcasts, and the guy had his friends that were in, a regular business. And he says, well, why don't you just change companies? And he's like, no, it doesn't work that way. He's like, what do you mean it doesn't work that way? If I'm not happy with the people I'm working with, so.
Oddly enough, breweries have not been something we've struggled with as far as developing a relationship with and matching their goals has been in line together. I think if a brewery reaches out to us, they're doing it with a purpose. They're doing it because they like what we're doing and like our scale at what we're doing. And so I feel that hasn't always been as much of a problem. We've also fostered a lot of these relationships way prior to even starting this,
because people
company.
know who you are.
And so I don't think that's as much of it. I'd say that the biggest thing maybe would be the scale of what they want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
As their growth plan and their marketing plan. Most breweries don't have a marketing plan.
Sure.
At all.
Well, some breweries, Distro is their marketing plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that is true. And we've had breweries within our portfolio that have changed their path. They were a small house that has now blossomed to wanting to get much bigger and much wider. That is something that they've got to figure out and scale as well within the parameters of this company.
I saw the changes at Southern Lights, new coolers, more sevens in there.
Yeah.
It won't be long before that system is replaced.
The discussion with breweries, like we have been on 5 or 6 holds now with actually adding people, because we've had like quite a few people reach out to us and interest, and we're like, we're not ready yet. We've just added this. We need to get a handle on it. So we're trying to hold to not grow too fast to then fall apart or create a mess.
I mean, we're growing fast. We picked up 12 breweries last year.
Yeah.
So
We did four in November, December.
Yeah.
And so we go through these stages, and these guys will tell you, I will say, let's pause, let's stop, let's get this under control. And then I go and recruit like 2 or 3 more breweries. And they're like, dude, I thought we were stopping. I was like, yeah, but I can't. Like, it's just on my mentality. But we need to do it in a more sustainable way. So we're trying to be very calculated in what we do next. So this company can stay alive for not just our jobs and our livelihoods, but for all of the breweries involved.
Yeah.
And I think that's also what's pretty important is not only do we supply jobs to 4 people, 5 people.
6 people.
Well, yeah, but we also supply jobs to all the breweries because they've got to make more product. They've got to have an assistant brewer. They've got to go out and sell. So I think that's one of the coolest parts to me is to also be able to help provide those jobs and livelihood to people.
Well, I think our industry is surprisingly different also because of the number of ancillary jobs, entertainment, marketing, T-shirt printers,
artists.
Yeah, everything.
Can labels are insanely expensive.
Yeah. But I mean, there's like, you open up another business and you're just buying stuff and selling stuff. Mm-hmm. You're not using this huge infrastructure around you to support your business and to market your business. And, you don't open up a little mom and pop awesome retail store and then spend thousands of dollars on T-shirts and hats and buttons and badges and stickers every year, So when people say, well, this industry only, there's 300 breweries and there's 370 breweries in the state or whatever, and they all have an average of this many employees, just multiply that by what's really going on behind the scenes, that you don't see, and how much this industry supports so many different people.
And I mean, we're a big advocate of like going to the local places to get those kinds of things done too, because we understand that local on every single level of a small business is really important. So we use a lot of local people.
Our shirts, we just bought these shirts from T Hive in Largo off of Almerton. So here you go.
They
Um,
are they are
so
sharp.
no, it's a local
Yeah.
a local printer and company.
Yeah.
So we just had these made, and t-shirts are not cheap, and
No.
so we wanted to support somebody local rather than just some whatever online shop.
So I guess I don't know what anything else you guys want to say that's like really on your mind that about your industry and
I mean,
And
we
in
can
closing
touch
that-
on the contract thing with breweries a little bit.
please.
So, like, in the contracts, we discuss everyone's role, like both parties, and it's supposed to be a 50-50 partnership. And it goes back to when you're talking about, like, what do the breweries need to expect for getting into distribution. The 50-50 partnership we sign up for isn't always fulfilled 50-50, and I feel like that's also where we differentiate as distributors, because it's actually we're the ones putting in more effort.
Right.
So our sales support is ridiculous for a distribution company. I mean, that's pretty much what he and I have invested all of this into, is creating ourselves in the market. And so we've made mistakes. We started from nothing. He and I really didn't know anything about distribution.
No,
I mean, we learned quickly. Kat's taught us a lot. We've all learned a lot together.
You're quick learners.
Yeah. But we started with these contracts. We had 50-50. We kind of wrote off. And then now, as we've grown, we've learned, like, no, we really mean it. Like, we need your help. This isn't, we thought we could do it for you.
Right.
It's hard out there.
Well, because I mean,
Yeah.
you have so much passion, and we care so much.
Yeah.
And there are so many distributors out there that care about craft beer, but I feel like our entire team is just so devoted and dedicated that we want them to be successful
Exactly.
in the market.
Well, and she'll tell you firsthand, the presence of a brewer or a representative from a brewery with them on a sales day, it's almost
Changes
100%
so- Yeah.
sales guarantee.
People don't want
Exactly.
to talk to me. They
Yeah.
don't want to talk to Mark. They don't want to talk to Corey.
Yeah.
They
Right.
want to talk to the brewer, someone from
Yeah.
the brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know them, but
Yeah. So it's just like, in our future ones, we're definitely going to emphasize a little bit more. And for
Yeah.
people getting into distribution, you need to be prepared to at least invest time into getting yourself out there, because if you aren't involved, it's not going to grow to whatever you want it to be. And
Sure.
we know that firsthand.
Yeah.
Because the most involved are the most successful so far.
plus ride-alongs are so much fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you get to meet people over the Bay Area
Get to
and
deal with my
drink
crazy
a couple
driving
beers
and- Have some lunch, go to my favorite spots, say hello to people.
yeah.
Well, I
there's
mean,
just
they,
some
they
time.
sign that contract with others and they get
zero.
none of that.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
I
exactly.
mean, you have literally only signed a distribution contract. That's it.
yeah.
Point A
You-
to point B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
you didn't sign anything else.
we try not to play favorites, obviously. I mean, so when it comes to the sale of your beer, if you want your beer sold, how we're gonna represent you, but we also have to represent all the other breweries.
Right.
So, like, I can't go in saying I'm gonna do this for them, because then that's not fair to the others.
Right.
So when you have to have that spread view and focus, just having someone in there to
right.
represent, I mean, we will grab your hand and go with you immediately.
This Infinity is staring me down.
Infinite-
Either one, I don't
Infinite
care.
Into the
I don't
haze.
care.
Yeah.
Just,
So
just
good.
crush it.
Let's go.
Damn delivery boys.
Yeah.
And-
No.
and, you know, and there,
Uh,
there can be truth to
I prefer
that,
the term beer wizard.
but you know,
Honestly,
I like that.
the delivery aspect of it is kind of like our last focus. Obviously,
yeah, it's
everything needs to get to where it needs to go on time, but it all goes into the sales and the support and the events and
yeah.
just like building brands for breweries. That's
As
where all of
expensive
our
as the
investment
truck
is.
and the driver and the insurance is,
Yeah.
everything else is
Yeah,
more
it's-
than that.
That's the easy part,
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
which I understand why some larger companies will not invest that time and effort.
That's more IPA and less juicy, milkshakey, hazy.
Yeah.
It's
Jason
actually.
from oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's
It's really good, right? Jason
Mm-hmm.
and I were talking. Jason Exum from Infinite Ale Works and I were talking about our favorite New England juicy IPAs, and so whenever we do a ride on our ride alongs
Yeah.
together, he always brings me stuff. And
It's actually got some bitterness to it. Some of them are just like a juice shake of some
Sweet.
kind.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sessionable,
This has a
6%.
nice
Yeah.
dryness and
We
Yeah,
have
we need to break
a
it
That's what a hazy should be.
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at any beer from Burlington, Vermont, or wherever,
they're bitter.
They're bitter.
Yeah.
They're not these super sweet bombs that some places produce. They're really bitter, and this is well balanced.
It
And
really
this is a brand
is.
new brand to the Infinite and to us. So
Awesome.
we're excited to share this out in the market.
Yeah,
I
can
think that's
see this
gonna.
taking
I think
over.
that's gonna kill it.
I dropped the ball and forgot a can from Gulfport, and oddly enough, it's called Pay to Play.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That would have
and,
been the one to have.
The
Then we wouldn't have to
basically-
say anything. Just leave
Yeah,
it
just
sitting
stick it right
right
in front.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the inspiration from it came from an experience he had where that beer was supposed to go somewhere else, and it got shot down. So
Right. I haven't been down
Yeah.
there in ages.
It's such a cool brewery.
It really is.
Gulfport and period.
Yeah,
is
it's an
very
awesome
cool.
little area.
The food, they just won some award for the food that they have at Gulfport Brewery, and I can attest, it's really good.
Nice.
The food and the beer is just phenomenal. They're killing it. I think a lot of our breweries are really doing
That's
very well.
a good thing right there. What are a lot of the breweries? Let's give them all a little bit of a
Oh,
shout.
see, now you're gonna test me.
Yeah, well, it's good.
I do this.
We
all the
can
time.
we
Do
can
it
edit
automatically, do
we
it
can edit
automatically.
this
Oh, God.
to make sure you don't leave anybody out. Because God help us if we leave one out.
I
yeah.
never want to leave anybody out.
No, of course.
But you know,
let's start south and work
Oh.
north.
Oh,
There
yeah,
you go.
let's
Let's-
go by
let's-
region.
let's
So
try
I'll
to do
St.
it.
Pete. So you've got Grand Central Brew House, Descent, Overflow, Pinellas Aleworks, and Gulfport. They brew out of the Brutalist, so we count them
Right.
as
Yeah.
St. Pete.
yeah. Let's see. Troubled Waters,
Sacred
Grindhouse, Brew Labs, Southern Lights,
CUNY.
CUNY Brewing in Dunedin,
Tarpon.
Tarpon
We'll go
Springs,
Brighter
is,
Days and
yeah.
Unrefined.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll move
Scooch on over.
north.
Valrico is Bullfrog,
Then we also have Craft Life and Title
Craft Life and
way
Title,
up north.
Way up.
and then
Infinite out of
Aleworks.
Ocala.
Yeah.
Farthest north.
Craft Life. I haven't.
Craft Life, yeah, Tim from Craft Life out of Hudson. That's right off of US 19. They are our newest local brewery. We did add some brands from Commerce. So Commerce is a contract brewing company out of Largo, and we have My Favorite Things and Foreign Objects based out of New York. And so that's
as well as Drink Sip.
Drink
and
Sip.
Drink Sip, yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
22.
21.
Oh crap.
This guy is on it, man.
Uh,
I would have been gone like, yeah, that
Oh,
was.
Hold on,
somebody's
hold
gonna be mad at us. Who is it?
It's possible that I missed one.
All right.
Ah.
Oh,
Well-
somebody's gonna be mad now. I gotta look it up. We can keep going.
Do it.
They're gonna be.
Don't
upset.
worry. We
I
don't want to
never
leave
wanna
anybody out. We don't.
Oh, In the Loop.
In the loop.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
There we
yes.
go.
Dade City. Did we say Dade City?
And
Oh,
Dade
Dade
City.
City.
Dade City, there you go.
We
Shots
forgot
on
that
count,
region.
right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think we got them all that time. Yeah, Dade City and In the Loop. Yeah, they're one of
Awesome.
our newest ones too. So
Who has
Awesome.
phenomenal beer, by the way.
it's a hike to get to Dade City, but man, is it really good.
Right.
I love the beer that's being produced.
That
out
little
there.
downtown is awesome too. I mean, they throw a street fest. They do like a first
Haven't been there in ages
Friday
either.
deal, yeah. And
Yeah.
the Kumquat Festival's a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
They even
looks-
make wine out of Dade City Brewing. He's got it going on in there.
And the In the Loop's got that great lake. I throw a hammock up there. I live out in Lutz area, so I just throw a hammock up there and just hang out. It's really really cool.
Beer Week.
Oh yeah.
Talking about new projects, and I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to do kind of like a little shot on what's going on and what
Yeah.
you're doing for Beer Week in
Beer Week's gonna be
March.
chaos.
Coming up quick.
It's
It's coming up
Exciting
quick.
chaos.
It's our
If you
favorite
put
time of
that into
year.
the
It
universe,
really
It's a
is.
gonna pick
huge,
up on it.
awesome
Yeah.
thing.
Last year was an undertaking, to say the least. We had, title sponsor of the Brewers Ball. We had events at the park the day before at FBG Fest.
Not to mention, it's a logistics.
That was an
nightmare,
awesome day,
is
man.
what that week
That
is.
was. I mean, you had what?
Uh,
How many? You were serving like.
Shout out to
look
all
like-
of our
Oh, it was like
breweries,
20,
too.
20 beers, but we had to do it back to back to back.
Yeah.
Plus all the events during the week
Yeah.
that had to. It's a logistics
It
nightmare.
was
but
it
we
was
make work.
amazing.
Yeah, we're a logistics company, so that's the one thing we have to do correctly.
Yeah.
Um,
Had one job.
Yeah, this year is going to be a little bit easier on our plate, but I think we have like double the amount of events. So the Dunedin House of Beer is the kickoff. That's a Friday. And so Corey and Isaac have got that really programmed. I think we have, I forget how many, 12 breweries.
I think we're
representing.
doing
In the
half
tap
of the
room.
non-House of Beer taps. are
Yeah.
gonna be
Awesome.
ours.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So, yeah, we're taking over the middle rail
Awesome.
of D-Hob. And then I think we're doing reboot stuff.
Unrefined, I think, is doing the reboot
Yes.
trivia night. That's Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then
We
there's
have
so much stuff.
obviously
Reboot always
yeah,
has that.
it's like
Yeah.
it's
Shout out to Reboot because they always have a. He got like what 10, 12 faucets.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you always find something you want when
Yeah.
you go there.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
He
weird.
buys. He's one of our better buyers, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
Manny,
is
Manny.
constant. He just
Manny,
like he
yeah.
curates it really well.
I think so.
I love
I agree.
Manny and Isaac from their respective businesses.
Sure.
They believe in us. They've believed in us since probably day one of going in there, and we just curate really cool events. They share the love, not just for the breweries that are close by them, but all the other ones that are in the surrounding
Definitely.
areas. So we have that event. There's what's the Friday FPG event with the
Ultimate Brew.
Ultimate Brew.
Yeah.
Brew.
That's a
Um,
Tampa Bay Beer Week event, so I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we jump into FBG Fest on Saturday, Brewers Ball on Sunday, all the fun awards. We then have
we'll be at the Berry Festival at Crooked Thumb as
Yep.
well. Even though Crooked Thumb's not one of our breweries, a lot of our breweries will be there. So that'll be really
the
an awesome
Brutalist,
space.
the King State Brutalist Lager Fest, which was a new event last year. That was one of my favorites.
They
Just
did a great job.
all lagers is amazing. Goodword was there from the Atlanta area. A bunch of other huge breweries. Gulfport and Grand Central will be there on Thursday the 10th. Troubled Waters has their anniversary party and IPA showdown. So we're doing a collab at this moment.
Keep in mind, this list is all within 5 days.
Yeah,
That's
So,
crazy.
7
It is
days.
crazy.
So
So we're gonna need a beer month at
yeah,
some point.
Unrefined's got a sour tap takeover. Was that hopscotch?
I mean,
somewhere.
we still have probably a dozen events that are
Yeah.
not finalized yet that are going to
Right.
get added.
Yeah.
This is just
Right.
a
Like, I want to
spitball
give
on the
my
ones
shout
that we
outs now, but I
finalized
haven't
last week.
confirmed
Right.
some of the ones in St.
Yeah.
Pete.
Sure.
So, but what I can say is just go to TampaBayBeerWeek.com and check out the calendar. All of the events are listed on there, not just our events, but the events
course.
throughout the entire Tampa Bay area, which is really exciting.
And we like to get out and be civilian as much as we can, and go to Fooder and all those different other events around the area to try to represent us and just enjoy ourselves.
It kind of talking about this kind of reminds me about how you asked how we're different, and that would be one of the ways. Like,
Yeah.
we don't just we are the ones that plan these events, schedule them. We get
Yeah.
the brewery involved. The brewery's not doing it and sending it to us. It's vice versa. We're like, here's an
Right.
opportunity. Do you want it? And then when it actually happens, we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever put it on, the rep's always there. Sometimes we get let down, which is sad, but
Yeah,
it's just like we put the effort in and we're there. We want it as much as the breweries do.
Yeah.
And we're that much part of the community.
And like I said, we're spread all over the place, and so we've done a 17 tap takeover in Brooksville at Florida Cracker Kitchen. We've done multiple trivia nights at Origins Pizza and UTC in Bradenton. We are all over the place, and we try to represent our brands and our company as best as we can. And programming is one of those things. It's one way to get that reach out to the community, educate consumers on our brands and what we do for the community.
Well, it's one of the hardest parts. That's another thing. And a lot of normal, I don't know what to call them, regular businesses, you're not killing yourself all year trying to have events. Because I've known some breweries that they are not even counting, this night is for this or that night. They're doing 200 and something events a year.
Yeah.
Music, this, that, and they're larger events where they might try to close down a street, and it's a whole full-time job right there that you cannot. I was at a brewery recently and I said, "You got an awesome space here. No, I don't do live music. I don't believe in live music."
Do you know
and I was
why?
like,
It's ASCAP fees.
well, that's what
That's
I
part
said.
of it.
I mentioned
That is,
I mentioned it,
it's
and I
insane.
said, if you get a band that's not doing cover, if they're doing their own thing, and he was like, "No, we're not interested at all." And I know it's possible to do, and I just feel like as hard as it is, that's another thing about getting into this industry. You don't realize you're in the entertainment business,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, you have to
So-
program out your business.
Exactly.
It is the
and always
entertainment
do
business. I
something.
mean, it's
It is.
who has the shiniest coin being thrown out there.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Sadly,
what
it's
brings the
not
people in.
always about the beer. That's
Yeah.
the rough side of this. Is that as much as all
We'd
of
be in a
us,
much different position if it was.
Yeah.
Oh,
if it was
yeah,
about
yeah.
the
as
beer.
much as all of us
That's
love it
it.
and
It's
want it
about
to
the
be,
experience.
it is, it
So-
is, and it's all the better if the beer is awesome. But we all know of breweries that have done very well without the best beer in the world.
Yeah.
And so there's this huge balance that,
And I think I want to touch on that a little bit, especially for new breweries, is you have to think about that sort of thing. You have to not just build a place and make great beer. Those days are done. You have to have a
think
venue.
Having
Yeah.
having great beer is an expectation.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a requirement.
Now,
It's not anything
especially-
special.
No.
Especially in this area, you've
No.
got to have a space where people are going to want to come out and spend $8 a pint for beer,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
for 10 ounces.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure that's part of your plan when you open up a new brewery.
Well, you look at
especially.
Crooked Thumb and that awesome space they have.
It's incredible.
Or
Yeah.
many of the others. I mean, as awesome as Green Bench is, that space they have between their
It just
buildings,
escalates
incredible.
it.
it's
Yeah.
just a magnet.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of even our breweries and our retailers. Like Ale and the Witch is Brad
Right.
Ale and the Witch does an amazing
Yeah.
job.
They
Programs,
wouldn't be anywhere without that
music.
huge patio and that.
Yeah, we love Brad.
Yeah.
And the best story I have about this is all the other businesses refuse to kind of help pitch in for that. Brett takes the brunt of all that music,
Right.
and but everybody benefits from it. So
That
know-
place might not exist if it wasn't for that in a lot
Oh,
of
he
ways.
was
I
the only
know
thing in
way.
there for a long
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
absolutely,
Yeah.
that whole plaza. No offense to anybody in that plaza,
No.
Right.
but I don't think that plaza would even. It would be another high rise,
Right.
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 easily. Another
Well, I
high
mean,
rise.
look at what happened at what was the other thing that almost died and
The sundial
where
or
the
whatever.
where the
Sundial.
theater was and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Floridian, the state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
state theater. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
The city is changing.
they don't
That is for
understand.
sure.
There's a reason that so many breweries have popped up in almost every freaking town there is. There's, it just does something. It changes the whole fabric of those places.
Going back to Dade City as an example,
Mm.
that place is never not busy. It's always slammed.
Because he's the only one.
There's not much to do
Yeah.
necessarily in Dade
Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
When that's your only outlet, of course you're going to kill it. It's going to be
Right.
amazing.
I like to think it's because beer people bring a sense of community and we're
absolutely.
just fun people.
But
Absolutely.
it's
People
getting
wanna
tough out
gravitate
there.
towards us.
There's a lot of breweries
It
and there's
is.
a lot of beer in this country and it's
It
getting
is.
competitive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I
But
think other,
sit-
sorry,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
out of state people are now recognizing that.
Oh yeah.
And so now they're coming, like Voodoo's coming in, and a bunch of other places are coming into this area because they see the value of what this area brings and the culture of this
Yeah.
area.
Well,
So-
we're huge. I learned in the old days when I was in food packaging, we are a huge test market because of the variety of people that come here
we
Yeah.
have so
from
much
around the
diversity.
world and
Sure.
around the country. And we did one project with a new just a new package. It wasn't even a new. And he was like, "Yeah, we're testing it." And I go into stores around here and I see this thing in our stores. And I says, "Why is this? How many cities are you putting?" He goes, "Oh, dude, you have no idea how big this area is as a test market for major
it's
corporations."
very diverse.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember seeing like new things of M&Ms and asking people about it. Like, no, that's just here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like weird
Yeah,
weird
Chick-fil-A,
tests.
Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A does that all the time.
Yeah.
Tampa's a huge.
We
test
are a huge market. I mean, there's almost 1 million people in Pinellas County alone.
Yep.
So it's
the
it's
densest
pretty
county in the state.
cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hopefully, a lot of them like to drink beer.
Yeah.
It's been
And
my
they
ex-
do.
my
They
experience
absolutely
is
do.
yes.
Yeah.
Craft
They
beer.
do.
my experience is yes.
Yeah.
I can't thank you guys enough for being here.
Oh,
This
absolutely.
is really
Thank you for
awesome.
having
And
us. Yeah.
Of course.
thank
It's
you
been
for
really fun.
bringing beverages.
And that's one thing to know is we have a wide variety of products in our portfolio.
One thing to note, that's a huge point.
Yeah,
Like,
huge.
Yeah.
a lot of the accounts that we're working with are coming to us because we have something in in our portfolio that other people can't get into distribution. And that's not necessarily the brewery's fault
No.
either. It's just that the distributor can't have 18 different SKUs
Yeah.
throughout the year.
Wait,
No.
you can't?
They can't.
Yeah.
Wait,
They don't want to. They don't want to. They can't.
They don't want
absolutely
to.
can. They
You
don't
mean
want to.
you mean our 400 SKUs is
Yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the only way you get out of
For
your
one
contract with
specific
them is
brewery.
Yeah.
every year they go through the cooler and they're like, nah, you're done. And,
We just
you know,
did ADPs ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we've had to do that ourselves.
Sure.
But
Narrowed it down a little bit.
You
yeah,
have
try
to.
to
It's
narrow down.
reality.
Somebody so crazy. Somebody said last week before a retailer said, Ultracraft offers too much choice to the retailers,
Too many choices.
and I was just flabbergasted by that. I was like, yes, absolutely, I 100% will stick by that
Right.
because we offer literally almost anything that you want at a brewery, we can put in distribution.
Yeah.
There are some holes.
Too much choice.
There's a lot of jumping. You have to pay for
It's like
branding.
too many flavors of
and-
ice cream. That's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Right.
it worked out pretty well for Baskin Robbins. So,
Yeah.
It always blew my mind. I was like, why take one brand from a brewery?
It is funny though, because now that have grown to where we are, he and I are having to be like tell people no,
Yeah.
which
Gotta
is tough.
curate
and
this
I don't.
a little.
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
a little curated because otherwise we would have 95% double IPAs,
Right.
and we're just like no, because we picked the people that's their deal, and then the other ones may not be their strong
Right.
suit, and we're just kind of like, what else do you have that we can do? Like,
Yeah.
let's put you in your corner and
Yeah.
kind of curate what you.
Well, I was
offer.
recently in Tampa, and I mean, the menu was literally hazy,
Yeah.
sour, hazy, hazy. And it was just there.
I mean,
There was no
Everyone has
real.
their niche.
They do, and I get that, but
2 weeks ago, our inventory was like 80% IPA.
Right.
I
Right.
looked at it and I was like, oh crap, we messed up. And I was like, I have 18 hazy IPAs.
But
I'm
now
like,
it's
Right.
back down to like 50% because
Can
they all
we
sell
get
like
a dark beer
wildfire.
on the
they
Yeah.
are.
Can we get a
Yeah.
Hefeweizen? Yeah.
oh
But
yeah.
that's something that we balance and that we juggle, like, every week when we look at our inventory to say, what are we picking up next?
And there's no way to predict. We've tried to.
No.
Right.
We've done everything we can. We have all the data. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, breweries are. What do we want to make next? What goes in the market next? Like,
we
hell
had
if I know. Like,
Right.
I am trying.
we had an
and-
IPA that we had begged for years, and it's still we have it now still, but we were trying to get it consistently, and so the first time it came in we got over a pallet of it, and we could not sell that beer for our lives
for 2 months.
for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then 1 week, every keg went, and then ever since then, they've all been going, and then it slowed down, and then it picked right back up again.
Right.
And we're just like,
It's this yo-yo effect of
No
just like
rhyme or
supply
reason
and
to it.
demand.
yeah. And then we just got a text from one of our sales reps before we started this, and he was like, hey, can I get a few cases of this beer? It's going to be consistently in 2 different bars. And we're like, we were about to
could
pull
not-
that from our.
I could not sell this beer for for anything, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we got a place.
It was the style, not the beer.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
make
yeah,
that point.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
just want to throw that out
Yeah.
there for
Yeah,
the
sorry.
It
general
was just
consumer.
like, it was a style. It was
Right.
just like a slow mover.
It was a light, drinkable beer that was very fairly priced, but we just couldn't compete in the market
Right.
with it.
Yeah.
Just toss
But
it
I mean,
out
that size. I mean, Pilsners, Czech Pilsners.
Yeah.
These things are coming on
Yeah.
strong right now.
they are, but
there's
not
some-
in distribution.
Right.
Yeah.
They
right.
don't really sell.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We
I think that's
we
gonna
love them
change.
as brewers, and
I think
beer
this
fans
year it's
love
going to
it.
change.
I always say this, but like every single brewery,
But I've always been wrong. But every single brewery,
every
I'm
single
sorry.
brewery that I go to, their best selling beer in their tap room is their light lager,
Yeah.
hands
light,
down.
Every
pale ale,
brewery.
whatever.
Yeah.
Every single brewery, because they don't sell the macro option, right? But when you say, well, this is our best beer that we make, this is the one we sell the most of, we want to put this in the market, we have to have that conversation with them because it's not going to be your best seller in the market.
Yep.
The fun, weird stuff that you do all the time is going to be,
Yeah.
Well,
because in the market, you're going against macro beer, which is
Right.
cheaper.
Right.
absolutely.
We've learned price always
Right.
wins.
And there was just an article recently about that where the macro is growing, like, because people are, it's tough right now, and
Right.
they're grabbing that 12 pack, that 15 pack, that,
I think there is a cycle too.
and I certainly see that.
I mean, it's also when you're competing in that like Pilsner market as a craft brewery, you're competing against macro Pilsners
Yeah.
and the price. I mean,
yeah.
yes, yours is probably better,
Yeah.
but are you going to spend
I can
$15
get
for 4 beers,
And
or
there's
you
a
could
brand
get a
recognition.
12 pack
suitcase.
for
There's a
yeah,
brand
get a suitcase
recognition
for
there.
15.
Consumers will
Yeah.
gravitate towards what they know and
Yeah.
what is safe, unless it's recommended to them by someone else
Yeah.
too. So-
Yeah, but also you can get a suitcase of one versus a 4-pack of the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean, not all the breweries can afford Super Bowl commercials.
No.
So,
No.
But
I used to buy there was a brewery that was making a Belgian triple, who we all know, and it was like priced at the rate of their regular beer, and I was like, oh, take that 9% 6-pack for $10. It was awesome.
yeah, be
And
careful
so I
when
guess
you
that
go
makes sense, because why would I buy a 5% beer at this price point when I can just go ahead and get, a double IPA or something?
yeah, which is
Really unique and different. So
As a consumer,
I'm a
kinda-
consumer really, and
yeah.
I didn't know
you
what I
gotta
was
play
doing.
with that in your head first.
Yeah,
for
I don't
this,
know
like,
what I
all
was
right,
doing.
Do I want to drink a 3.9 Zwickel beer,
Yeah,
or do I want a 8% double IPA for the exact same price?
right.
You get
Because
a little bit
they
more bang on your
are-
buck, but then you have that.
Yeah.
You do buy that.
well,
lager
and your
beer.
general consumer who is into craft beer they're alcohol chasers.
Yeah.
I've noticed if it's
Oh yeah.
the higher the ABV, the more willing they're. Yeah.
Telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, spending $50 on a bottle is.
Yeah. I get my
Those days are over for
13%
me.
barley wine for $12.
yeah.
Heck yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you so much
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.
to everyone. Time is ingredient
Cheers
to
again.
Bob
Oh.
Sylvester,
Time is
who
an
gave
ingredient.
us
Oh,
the
goodness.
thing. I got to do it. I didn't do a shout out
Did you-
before for him.
Did you let him know? You were
Oh
stealing
yeah,
that?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
I was like, Bob will-
I manned up eventually.
We love Bob.
Oh,
He gave
wow.
me his blessing, and
Awesome.
Well, we look
but-
forward to seeing you at Beer Week.
Yes.
I'm going
And
to be
all of the
there.
crazy events that
I
we'll be
am
at.
looking so forward to it. I was so upset last year I did not go to the Brutalist.
Yeah.
For
Oh, you need
That
to
was a
go.
really
It's a great event.
Yeah.
It's a good event.
well, I was doing. I don't know what I was doing. Some stupid thing, but then I'm watching my feed and I'm like, yeah, I should have been in St. Pete.
That's how I felt
Yeah.
about
Just-
Occupy.
I mean,
from
to be
Yeah.
fair,
this
it's in the
year.
Wow.
middle
I
of a
missed
week.
it.
That was a
or-
wonderful
or work
night.
week.
Last week it was in the middle of the day on a
It
Thursday.
still is.
Well, no, it's moved. Well, time has moved back,
Oh,
but
okay.
still, it is. In the
Yeah,
middle.
last week
Right.
it was at like 1 p.m.
Yeah.
in the middle.
It's an
of, like,
awesome
a Thursday.
facility.
It
Yeah.
really
That
is.
is a wonderfully put together brew house.
And the people there are fantastic.
Grand Central's the same way.
Yeah.
Every time I walk into that place and look at the retail side and the brew house side, I'm just like, my God,
Yeah.
this place was just put
Again,
together
going
right.
back to what I said about just having great beer, you can't do that. You
Yeah.
gotta have something that people want to spend hours at,
Yeah,
and just a great environment.
Well-
That's one of those places.
and they have great beer and it's an
Mhm.
amazing space. I mean, my
Mhm.
God, every time I go in there, I'm blown away by those hydraulic.
The doors that
Door
lift open.
windows.
Yeah.
I'm like, they cost more than most
They're
people
I love the
put
so
in.
fans.
expensive.
Have you ever
Yeah.
noticed the fans?
No,
that
I got.
connect?
Oh, now
It's
I
like
want to
each
look
one's
now.
a Toyota
Oh, that's right.
Camry.
They're on the
Yeah.
They're
cable
on like a little
loops.
like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's so cool.
It's the details.
Every one of those things is more than most people have invested in their entire brewery, probably. You know,
Yeah.
it's just nuts the money.
the
in
tanks above
that
the
place
bar.
is so
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
And hey, they make good stuff.
and
too.
the beer
Oh.
is awesome. And I love the glasses with all the little. Every glass has a different pour line on it with a different character that's kind of befits the style.
Yep.
You know,
They built
that's
a-
crazy.
They built a beautiful brewery.
They really did,
It was very thought out too.
and it backs it up with awesome beer,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
mean-
Zach's doing a great job.
It's the way I look at it. It's like we all work really hard, everyone in the world, and our free time. It's like you have to win people's free time. Like you have to win their Friday night.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's harder and harder to win it.
I think you just put the point on that because that's really what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
How do I
You're convincing a guy who just
to spend
might have had the
your
worst
time.
week ever, so that
Yeah.
you're worth his time.
You're worth this 20 minutes it took him to make $8 or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
So going back to the title,
That's a strong point.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Time is ingredient. All right, so Want to tell everybody thank you for listening to Time is Ingredient. Thank you to our guest, Kat, Mike, Jacob. And we hope you've gained a little insight into if you're thinking about distribution, give them a call. Our guests now, we Google things and give them a click.
Alteredcraft.com.
Yeah. What is
Or
it?
Alteredcraft.com.
Alteredcraft.com.
Or you can just have my phone number. It's fine.
And make sure that you check out our Instagram and our Facebook. Our social media is at Altered Craft Distro.
Awesome.
Yep.
And until next time, well, I lost my beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.